city office. I mean, I don't think I want to change those, you know. Probably got more yelling in the current one.
No, it's all good.
I'll let it
You talking
I think
to
it got
Richard
busy.
Hamilton at all?
I think he
Or hear
was,
from him?
I have not.
I think it was just,
I'm not sure if anyone has.
wasn't it?
Gotcha.
All right, you're all set, Hannah?
Yes, thank you.
Call to order the Village of Middleville Planning Commission meeting. Heather, if we can have a roll call, please.
Jason Holzhausen,
Here.
Steve Baldry.
Here.
Bruce Farrell,
Here.
Troy Newman,
Here. Bob
Bob Kirkler,
Here.
Amanda Pullen. Here.
Thank you very much. We have the Pledge of Allegiance on our agenda. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have our agenda in front of us. Anybody need to make any amendments? Who is doing the motion to?
It is written.
Support. Who's doing support?
Amanda got our
Amanda,
motion.
okay.
All right, we have a motion from Troy, support by Amanda, to adopt our agenda for the evening. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Minutes from April 7th. Everyone had a chance to read them. Comments, concerns, corrections. It captures what we did. All right, hearing nothing, who's making that motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
We have a motion with support to approve our minutes of April 7th. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. We're by ourselves, no public comment. Moving on to Main Street Vision Plan. Mr. Powers.
Good evening. So, the background, the Village of Middleville Downtown Development Authority commissioned Williams and Works to prepare the Main Street Vision Plan funded through the DDA. The plan was developed with input from the Main Street Vision Plan Steering Committee, which included DDA board members, village staff, and village leadership. The DDA Design Committee provided feedback throughout the planning process. The completed plan was presented to the DDA for informational review prior to being forwarded to the Planning Commission today. For any of you that may recall the history, in 2003, the village had contracted the blueprint plan where it had identified the need for creating a Main Street Vision Plan or street design standards. That was never done. That this originally came up approximately a year ago when the Public Works Director was notifying the Village Council about potentially having to remove trees due to the nuisance of them damaging infrastructure.
Did you say 2003?
2003 is when the blueprint was created. So yeah, it was like right at the beginning when the DDA was established. That it indicated that it's, if you haven't seen it, I'd be more than happy to share it. It's a little over 100 pages, a good read. But it identified the need for, creating a vision plan for the streets, and that's where this document came from. That you know that the various design aspects in here, from what we had worked out along with some of the reference documents pertaining to standards, that those were separate engagement session with village leadership. to identify other aspects that might not have been covered through the public engagement sessions. Only other item, mentioned procedurally, is mentioned in here that, want to make a note that section 66-163 to permit bicycle use on Main Street consistent with the Cheryl markings proposed throughout the corridor is something that, should potentially be discussed at an upcoming ordinance committee meeting, as the design that you see does not have, separated lane, solely the markings, so. I'm happy to address any other comments, questions, or concerns, pertaining to this. But a recommendation I would make would be for this to potentially be incorporated into our upcoming master plan updates or further.
The DDA has put their stamp on this completely. Including the roundabout of the street here. That's the idea.
It has even been presented at the council meeting as something that was coming.
I mean, we saw a conceptual drawing.
And it's on the
roundabout
capital
there.
improvement plan as well.
Yeah.
It took up a lot more space, I think. That's the other one that I have seen.
Yeah, I think you're right. The one one of the drawings I've seen, it really did take up space, but just glancing at this overlay drawing here, it's pretty compact.
Yeah.
Oh, and one other item too, the DDA last month had approved funding for right-of-way survey to determine where the right-of-way setbacks are in the downtown area. I can assist with this or other projects.
I actually like, so working backwards from the roundabout and coming in this direction, I see the idea of taking out one of the entrances to the church parking, which I don't know how many times people scrape their cars on that anyway. The one leaving is the one that everyone scrapes the bottom of their cars on. I like the median enhancements in the various areas of this plan. I do see that it's retaining the stamped concrete and not putting the bricks back in. That was troublesome so long ago. The parking changes right here, if you see that, dropping the angled parking in favor of parallel.
I was gonna count, totally forgot how many spots would that eliminate.
See, we're looking at less than like 6. And part of the reason behind that is the grade of, Main Street in this block. It's borderline, that they certainly wouldn't encourage, angle parking, as I'm sure any of you that have parked in the downtown can attest to the challenges by backing out of those spaces. So there's a car next to you.
On here, so the
right.
St. James Circle to High Street says net parking -8, but High Street to Church, net parking is -4, but Church to Grand Rapids is adding 11. And then where is, Larkin to Russell, the net parking is a +23. And then obviously no parking from 37 down to Larkin.
I should have wrote all comments. I just looked at the pictures.
Yeah, so overall, it's actually, the parking is fairly even.
Well, and so you commented on concrete, or, yeah, it's not concrete, I think there's only one intersection that would have to be added. The rest of them all exist at Larkin Street, correct?
Yeah, because the rest of them is
They all
are
exist.
there. I don't know if, are the crosswalks the same concrete?
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's preferential to putting the brick back in. So my opinion is I like this. It's inviting. As somebody who frequently comes down the hill on foot, right, from 37, I like it. And here, across the street here, taking the angled parking out just makes that sidewalk space even larger, which I would imagine would be the restaurant thinking, hey, we can put people outside. The social district.
So that's listed later on in my report, but that was another item for the ordinance committee to review, was to allow for a permitting process for restaurants to be able to utilize the public space for dining or other activities.
Well, yeah, if that public space grows,
Right.
then because,
And the other issue is that Public Works had noted about challenges with snow removal, and the size of their equipment. So taking those into consideration as well with the proposed design.
well, what do the rest of you think?
I think the rendering kind of convinces everybody that it's
Yeah.
flat.
Oh.
Well, in fact, we go downhill in one direction, uphill in the other, right?
Yeah.
We talk about having restaurants move out with their tables and stuff. How on earth are you gonna get them level? I mean, how do we approach those types of things? We can make that a bigger frontage area there, sure, but it's still gonna go downhill. Or uphill, depending which way you're going.
That's
Would be angled.
Yeah.
That would be up for, I mean, if the space is available, if Riverdog wanted to try something, that would be up to them to decide.
Without pouring a permanent concrete apron out there that would be level.
Be similar to the deck right up here, right? Potentially, I mean, you could build a deck. That level that, make it usable.
I just, but if you look at the rendering here, it's like, oh, it looks like the desert here, nice and flat.
Yeah, right now, we just don't have any process to allow for that only for, infrastructure improvements, temporary work, or driveway installation.
And I see where some folks are gonna lose their driveways, but I really don't see how they're gonna be replaced.
So, and this is just a design rendering, and it depends on where you're referencing. So what I can suggest to you is, when we're talking about the west side of the river on Main Street, our master plan has encouraged, access from other streets besides Main. So driveways could be located on other blocks for some. Others, there may not necessarily be a removal. This, it's just, their version of design, and the end product may end up not looking like this.
That probably lends itself more to what we've talked about in the past, where maybe some of the houses are gone and businesses are there that are set up front with rear entrance or something.
And some of the properties, the setback is so, it's so small that they can't safely park vehicle in the driveway and not interfere with sidewalk access.
Just to understand DDA's getting their approval, everybody seems to be ready to move. Let's go, let's get this approved. I know some people that were involved with the Plainfield corridor region, and they're very unhappy with what happened. Not pleased with the way, the result is not what they expected. I think somebody should be in touch with those people before we start approving drawings and find out what was right and what was wrong with it. Because they've done all sorts of extensions from the side, trying to slow people down, put trees in and stuff, and all it's done is increase accidents. So I'm a little concerned that we're ready to move on this when we have up the other end of Kent County some people that have tremendous experience with this very thing recently. Somebody maybe should talk to them.
So this, or the recommendation that I presented to the planning commission isn't for adoption, is to utilize this as a reference
I understand.
for when we update our master plan next year. But yeah, we can certainly, if there's certain areas that we have comments or concerns with, I'd be more than happy to look into it or, get some guidance from others.
I'm just thinking a phone call to Plainfield Township might be in order to talk to the planners up there and see what they've done right and what they've done wrong before we get too much further along here.
I think we're not comparing apples to oranges though either.
Well, that may be. You're right, I mean, that's a state throughway there, it's an M44 basically, but still. They were doing some things that they thought would slow people down and create more foot traffic and all those kinds of things, and it didn't happen. So I'm just, before we go spending all sorts of money, somebody should maybe talk to them and figure out what they did right and what they did wrong up there, because that's a perfect resource.
And money's already been allocated, there's no money to be spent either, but just.
I think with Plainfield, it's because it is the state connector there, and it's different. And the traffic volumes are way different. And like, we finish a roundabout here, in the first week, 3 people are gonna hit each other. Because
Yes, indeed.
It's different.
they haven't figured it out yet, but it does take some time. I do know, if you remember when Grand Rapids again, not anywhere close to us in traffic volume, when they redid, Lake Eastbrook Boulevard between 28th Street.
Go behind the wall.
Behind the mall there, and somebody forgot that semi-trucks still have to get in and out of there, and so they had to take out one of their median things so a truck could get up on an apron there. And there was collisions because people just weren't used to it yet, especially when they put that roundabout in there at Spark and Lake Eastbrook. But looking at this, we've talked about traffic calming a lot, and from what I've read and seen, just getting the street narrower the narrower street is the number one thing that's gonna slow people down. And this vision is part of that, is just making that curve closer to the travel lane. And now that it's no longer a thoroughfare for our semi trucks, we can do that. And I personally would love to see this continue all the way down Grand Rapids Street, but we're not there yet.
And when I'm referencing the Plainfield, the Reimagine Plainfield plan, they're including land uses as well as, maintaining, preserving residential. It's not just the street design aspect, there's a lot more that they're doing. That's a master plan update.
I do see, like, there is one, again, vision drawing of one house on Main coming down the hill from the highway that currently has 2 drives, and the drawing here removes one of their driveways. There's a couple in here where, at the Sizewara House on Larkin, relocated driveway, getting it further away from Main Street. But those are all things that, again, and then just a drawing, and I think the only other one driveway that vanished was one of the church's 3 driveways. Well, technically 4 driveways now, because they own a lot next door where the house is gone. But I think that one also vanished on the drawing. So that's, the church going from 4 to 2 on their lot, since they've got the entrance on Church Street there. But yeah, as a guiding document, something like this is, I think this is good. But yeah, it will have to be, this is not the first iteration. It's not like the council would take this and then put it in, put a shovel in the ground yet. There'll be hearings around, and then,
And none of these streets are proposed in the next 5 years according to the CIP.
yeah. And we've got the one residential driveway right up here that is obviously still there because there's nowhere to get in or out of there other than that, the good curb bump outs. Because I know occasionally right now they get blocked in for people who don't realize that there's paint on the grounds you can't park here. But removing the angled parking there in parallel with some bump outs protects that house and their driveway. Driveway removal at the old auto shop. One of their 2 driveways. So.
What's the timeline?
So, the planner, if the planning commission was, suggesting recommending this, to the council for approval, it would likely go to the council, by way of resolution tentatively the last meeting in May. But the recommendation is for consideration in a master plan update, which will be next year.
Okay, and then the construction part of it?
Oh, I can't confirm. I mean, we're at least 5 years out, and this is not one project. This is many projects.
Yeah. What's the priorities?
Well, Railroad Street is going to be done this year, but that's not subject to this. Those were separate meetings. That I believe the only one of these that's in our capital improvement plan is the Grand Rapids and Main Street intersection. I don't believe there's any of these
Take the
other,
toughest one
portions.
first.
Well, I mean, we do the table report that identifies what the needs are, from the current quality of the construction and based on costs. There's a lot of factors that go into it.
Yeah, so council could take this if it gets adopted and gets put into the master plan, they can absolutely end up taking the approach of whenever the street needs to be torn up for whatever other reasons.
And being that our master plan was done in 2021, and this is certainly be at least a revisit in 5 years, which is what we're supposed to be doing.
Other concerns?
I just have a concern with the roundabout and service vehicles coming down Main Street to deliver stuff to the restaurants and that type of thing. We talk about semis not even coming through here anymore, but there isn't a beverage truck or a Cisco food truck or anything that isn't tractor trailer now. Especially look at that poor guy at Three Brothers Pizza that has to back in there. He gets there like 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, but, that would be my concern on the road and narrowing that. If we want that business down there, they have to be able to get there.
And the roundabout, the way that was proposed for being designed, with like the mountable truck apron, that's the consideration there.
Which would be similar to the roundabout at Kalamazoo and 68th Street. Where that one's large,
Yeah,
I was gonna
but
say, that was pretty good stuff.
it is large, but it still has a mountable apron, so the 53-foot trailer can get around it. And, because we still have tractor trailers that will come up Grand
Yes.
Rapids Street and head out state. And so a traffic engineer would have to put their stamp on it to know that or Caledonia Township's ladder truck coming into town, getting around it for one of these buildings needs a ladder truck.
And their landscape architect and engineer partnered on this development. They were at all the meetings.
All right.
I think as a conceptual idea, yeah,
Yeah, as a guiding vision document.
Right.
Yeah, of something of this is what this area could potentially look like, and that would be us telling council, yeah, we think this is a good idea of what this area could look like. I do, think we need to visit the ordinance about bikes downtown, because the kids ride their bikes on the street and on the sidewalk anyway. And it should actually reflect reality, because it doesn't right now. And I have no problem with kids on bikes on the sidewalk anyway. So, okay, other?
I think that was mine.
Have I rambled long enough?
Yeah, you did good.
Then I will make a motion to approve the Village of Middleville DDA Main Street Vision Plan as a guiding reference document for planning and development decisions along the Main Street corridor, and to recommend that Village Council adopt the plan by resolution, and further directing staff to incorporate the plan into the upcoming master plan update.
Support.
I have a motion with support to approve this. Last chance for discussion. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Have a nay. Thank you, folks. Did the ordinance committee meet this month?
That was the last one.
All right. The admin report, Doug?
Absolutely. So permitting is slowly picking up. I'm sure you've all noticed that the McDonald's is under construction. Looking to open the first week of August. Ordinance committee was asking if the May 18th at 4:30 would tentatively work. As mentioned, there's a couple ordinances, to discuss and work on. While the last ordinances that we discussed, the attorney is in the process of drafting that information so that can come back to the planning commission for the next meeting. Do not have any updates pertaining to 36 State Street. However, the strategic planning, hoping to get one or two members of this board, excluding Mr. Baldry, as I'm sure he's being, acknowledged as his elected role. But for strategic planning, feedback, thoughts, guidance from the planning commission, as there will be village representatives, DDA, township, school, the usual players. I believe that Mr. Holthausen as well as Mr. Newman were present at the last meeting. So please do let me know on that. The one other item,
Real quick, the strategic planning, you said you were looking at June 9.
June 9th at 5:30, so it'd be like about an hour
So
session.
I already know that I won't be here.
can't be either, sorry.
So new blood in strategic planning. To sit in, would be appreciated if anyone else could make that work.
So
Tuesday.
So it's a Tuesday, and basically what it is that, the people here meet and, we have a consultant that helps guide some questions and we give feedback. So that helps in regards to, some of the challenges that we may see on the horizon.
Yeah, I can be there.
Okay.
The
Okay,
purpose of this is we're trying to put some.
I heard Mr. Farrell. Did I hear anyone else? Just double checking.
You said 5. I could be there. 5:30.
5:30. Okay, sorry, Mr. Furlong.
The purpose of this is we hired these folks, we're gonna put together a parameter of TIF. So what Lansing has changed, used to be the brownfield was for getting blighted property into something that could be. But now they changed that into affordable housing, would be included into that too.
Yeah, which is what we had with the villa property.
But then we have the Kellogg Crossing, for example, that wants to have 4 rental houses and 22 other houses they're gonna sell to be as a tip. I really don't, is that really right that we lose 12 years worth of property tax for 4 rental houses? So,
Well, he stood right here, he stood right here when we were talking about that.
Yeah.
And said there weren't gonna be any rental houses.
He said he didn't know.
Is I didn't know, but when he said if they get the TIF approved, there has to be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
it
not
would
part of
there'll
be,
be more besides these folks coming down the way. We have to put something together that we're willing to work with them on.
So the last
This
strategic
was
planning meeting,
just too lopsided.
they assigned priorities, realizing like, housing affordability was one, safety was another, infrastructure, and, determine ways to potentially address some of those issues. So there's a lot of things, big picture.
Yeah, I can try.
trying, yeah.
And I'm not sure if I
What
mentioned this or not, but sorry,
What time was that?
5:30.
5:30. I can try and make it.
So the, ordinance committee, section 78-25, that pertains to, vehicle storage, which is mentioned, the code enforcement and officers report is another one that we'll have to look into. Is that there are a few challenges, one being a codification issue and the other being slight inconsistencies, so. Yeah, there'll probably be 3 ordinances to potentially discuss at that meeting. Anything else from
And
you?
when is that again?
June 9th.
June 9th.
All this is all,
5:30.
all this is all that.
Oh, no, I was just, I haven't scheduled, that one I was saying May 18th at 4:30, if that worked for you.
What day of the week is it?
So that is a Monday,
Yeah, that's not.
I think it's a Monday. It's the day that we've been doing, the committee meetings, or the ordinance committee meetings previously. Double check, yes, that will be a Monday.
Yeah, I'll try to make it, but I've got some doctor stuff going that day, so.
Maybe we can meet after this meeting, the 3 of you, we can figure out a time and date, so I can get that notice out. If you have a couple minutes afterwards, share schedules.
So that does roll us into, Mr. Rickert's report. Questions, comments? No? I do like reading some of these notes. Okay. We are still by ourselves, so no public comments.
Sure.
I've looked up occasionally. So, any additional comments from us up here?
Has there been any movement or any information on Champs?
So they have begun doing some work. They've fixed the fascia that had fallen down, and I know they've been working on getting some of their licensing, but they have not submitted anything to zoning as of yet.
Nothing else from the other outlots at Midvilla?
Not yet.
I did see, in a council packet where I personally had asked for like 1 streetlight at Harding's and Mid-Villa there. But I saw in the council packet of just streetlights galore on 37 there, which,
It was a good night for streetlights.
I saw that and was like, ow, there's been ham on the streetlights, but I'm not opposed to it, like, no problem, like, I figured one would be great, but I'll take them. Did that go
Was it an
through?
exceptionally dark night during the meeting or what?
Must have been.
No, it just it makes sense a lot, especially Harding's Market area needs more light. We had some residential areas that had some dark spots on them. And quite frankly, Bob could tell you, but unless you drive 18 and a half miles around the village, you don't really know where those places are, so when they get brought to the attention, yeah.
Yeah. So where else, besides the highway there?
So I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay.
Looking back at the paper, I didn't bring the paper.
Because they were all in that packet, weren't they? Or,
I believe they were.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I'll have to look, but I just had noticed that the dots on the map on the highway there, like, oh, Craig really went for it.
Well, especially has such a deer crossing in there too. So some more light certainly doesn't hurt,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
school bus and all that type of thing, Pity that, I would not wanna be the parents these days where kids have to stand out and wait for the bus. As soon as somebody's turning left, this train will pass on the right. And right across, I work part-time at Parks Bus and right across the road. I would not wanna have my kids standing out and waiting for a bus.
Yeah.
So the more light, the better.
Okay. Anything else, folks?
I won't say.
All right, then I will make the motion that we adjourn.
Support.
We have a motion with support to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.